So with the launch of Season 3 of the War Within, a lot of players have started to realize that the Delver's Journey reputation track has been incredibly hard and slow to progress compared to Season 1 and Season 2. And this is not only a big deal because you can get like a bunch of cosmetics or other unlocks like you could in previous seasons, but in Season 3, you also get a lot of additional potential power from this Delver's Journey reputation track. First off, being at rank 2, that you can now start to get the Delver's Bounty maps, which gives you a really high piece of gear, especially if you're doing like tier 11s, and was much more easily accessible in previous seasons. In Season 1, you could just randomly get these from any delve, but going into Season 2, at the start of the season, you could just get these from having the Nemesis spawn or using the new item that guarantees spawn them, and you could get them within the first week of the season pretty easily. But now going into Season 3, you actually have to get to rank 2 of the Delver's Journey to even unlock the ability to get these, and they're still limited to 1. And then at rank 3, you actually get a new vendor that if you complete tier 9 or above delves, at the end you'll find this vendor that will sell you all of the delve trinkets on champion track for 2,000 undercoins a piece, which undercoins are somewhat easy to farm, so you'll be able to just go in there on any of your alts and get 2 champion track trinkets pretty easily. So all of this is just quite a lot of potential gear and power that's been really locked out by the Delver's Journey reputation. So in this video, I want to go over the fastest ways to farm your Delver's Journey reputation. Now, a small update before we get into the rest of the video, we have gotten an official Blizzard announcement that we will be potentially getting some free Delver's Journey progress because they say that we're aware of and working to fix issues that have been preventing Delver's Journey progress from being awarded as intended. We will soon grant Delver's Journey to all War Within players to shore up the missing progress. After the grant goes out, you'll see it when you next log on. Now, as of when I'm recording this video, I haven't gotten that free Delver's Journey reputation, but I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work. I'm not sure if they're just giving this progress to absolutely everybody or if they're giving this additional reputation based upon how much delves you've done or something like that. It sounds like they're just giving it to everybody as a way to not only fix this issue, but also just boost everybody up to probably give a good amount of starter reputation so the whole track is a bit faster in general, or probably to at least get you those first 2 power ranks at rank 2 and rank 3. Now, there's only a couple ways to actually earn Delver's Journey reputation. The main one is just running bountiful delves, and we'll go over the specific numbers on that. The other way is a one-time on account weekly quest where you just complete a delve and it will give you the archaic cipher key, which you go turn in, gives you a bunch of undercoins and gives you 1,500 Delver's reputation, but that's only on 1 character per week. So the main way you're going to be getting Delver's reputation is just running bountiful delves. If you're somebody that plays a lot of alts and likes to run a lot of delves, you're probably going to be getting this reputation somewhat quickly because you can do every bountiful delve on every character per day and still be getting the same amount of reputation per character. So the expansion of the War Within that is very alt focused, again, allows you to progress something much faster, having a lot more alts. Now, it's not just running any bountiful delve. The reputation actually scales with what level you're doing it on, and this scaling doesn't stop at tier 8, which I think is what most people were thinking it was going to do going into Season 3, because that's where most other things stop. Going up to tier 11 has usually been just more of a challenge thing, but it's actually pretty important for reputation because doing tier 11 bountiful delves gives you the most reputation. If you're just doing tier 8s, you're going to be getting less reputation per character. Now, while saying that, if you have a ton of characters and you're going to be wanting to get your Great Vault filled out on all of those characters and you want to get a bunch of keys on all those characters and run all the bountiful delves on all of those characters, you can still do tier 8s. If you're going to be doing it on a ton of characters, you're going to be progressing the reputation track really quickly anyway. And if some of your characters are just not really geared or not a really good spec to do tier 11 delves solo, you can either look for a group for them or you can just do tier 8. You'll get less reputation, but if you're somebody already doing it on a ton of characters, again, you'll be getting a lot of reputation anyway. But if you're going to be doing Bountiful Delves on tier 11, I've went and done these and checked the exact amount of reputation you'll be getting. So just for completing a Bountiful Delve, you're going to get experience for killing the end boss or doing the objective and completing the delve. At tier 11, this is 250 reputation. That'll be less for every tier you go below 11. Then for using your coffer key on a bountiful chest at the end, you're getting 300 reputation. I think this also should scale with the tier of the delve. I have heard some people saying that using your coffer key specifically gives you the same amount of reputation, but I haven't personally tested like lower tier delves. But then another thing a lot of people I don't think are realizing is that the Nemesis chest at the end of delves also gives you reputation that not only seems to be based upon the delve, but I think is reduced if you don't max out and kill all of the Nemesis groups. Those are the special groups that spawn in that you have a certain amount of them you can kill. They delete a normal pack of enemies. These are the hardest part of delves right now, actually. And as you defeat more and more of those, there's a chest at the end that upgrades more and more. And with a tier 11 delve, defeating all of the Nemesis groups, which is 4 groups on tier 11, you'll get another 125 reputation. So that's 675 total reputation for maxing out tier 11 delves. So that's all Nemesis groups, and that's using a coffer key. That means that if you can do this 13 times, so basically using 13 coffer keys, you'll be able to get rank 2 and unlock the Delver's Bounty maps to be able to go get those on all of your characters. And again, the Delver's Bounty map is only obtainable once per character per week, but that is another really big piece of gear you'll be getting, another guaranteed piece of gear. So that will be good on all of your characters, and it's somewhat easy to get this. And for this Delver's Bounty map, you just have a chance to get it from the chest at the end of a delve. You will also just be given it if the Nemesis of Kai'Veza spawns in your run. There is an item you can get that you either spend undercoins on or can randomly get it through delves that you can make her spawn, and she will also give it to you through that. So this may seem like running tier 11 bountiful delves with coffer keys on all of your characters is the fastest way to get reputation, which that is true, but that's also dependent on what characters you're playing, what specs or roles they're playing, and if they're geared enough to do this. Because going from tier 8 to 11 may only sound like a few levels, but the power and health difference is absolutely absurd, so it may not be worth it to you to actually be running tier 11 delves on all those characters. If you're someone that has a lot of characters that wants to run delves on a lot of them, I would recommend only doing tier 11 delves on characters that can easily do it. Like on my Blood Death Knight, tier 11 delves are very easy. You just have Bran be a DPS, and with a couple of the new gear pieces for Bran, he actually does a ridiculous amount of damage. So it's actually pretty quick to do these tier 11s. If you have a tank or another character that could keep themselves alive without a healer Bran, or if you have a geared DPS character that can keep themselves alive with a healer Bran, but can still run through these delves and do a lot of damage and do them pretty quickly. Outside of that, especially if you're using healers with a tank Bran is actually pretty slow right now. I would definitely recommend all those other characters, if you're playing a lot of them, to just do tier 8s. Tier 8s is going to give you the most amount of gear possible, the highest item level, highest track of gear possible, and this will give you the best item level or track of gear from your Great Vault. They're much faster, so you can do them on a lot more characters and do them on a lot less geared characters, and overall it'll just be a much more enjoyable experience than trying to ram your head into the ridiculously scaled tier 11 delves. And if you're somebody that really wants all of the power you can possibly get from the delve system as quickly as possible, I would recommend just trying to farm up as many bountiful delves as you can with coffer keys until you get to rank 3 on the Delver's Journey. That will basically give you all the power you can get. There is another reputation level that allows you to buy some additional coffer keys from the vendor, and while that can give you more power, usually the rank that those are at is going to take a lot longer, so you could just be spending that additional time that you would take getting past rank 3 to just go run other content, and you'll be getting a lot better gear in general. But those Delver's Journey ranks at rank 2 and 3 are incredibly strong for power in general, so I'll just recommend trying to farm for those right now, and we'll see how much reputation we get given through the upcoming patch. Also, there's a few small tips to make these runs much faster and much easier in general. First off, consumables. You can use potions, you can use flasks, you can use buff food. All of that is just going to buff you up a bit to make these much easier. The second thing is most delves have a mechanic that allows you to kill enemies much more quickly. Like you have some of the delves where you have the exploding spores on normal non-boss enemies. Those spores will do a ton of their health and put big dots on them. If you get the new way gates or the new ethereal routing stations that just put you into a new room that when you complete, it fully completes a delve, those have these two sections in the middle where like this ethereal train comes through. If you put the enemies you're facing in those routing stations on that track where the train comes through, that train will hit and stun those enemies and do a ridiculous amount of damage, especially if you're against bosses. It'll get those bosses down to close to 50%, which is when they despawn and you complete them. So make sure to do that. That will massively speed those up. And a lot of the other delves just have mechanics that will help you kill enemies much more quickly. And the final tip is you may want to go and farm an easy delve to farm to get all of your maxed out curios on Bran, because they are incredibly strong getting them 4 out of 4 instead of having them on like 1 out of 4. The power difference for Bran is pretty massive, and using some of my previous videos and a new video I'll be going over, there are actually some very easy ways to just farm a specific delve completion, which will allow you to get those curios very quickly. So if you're going to be doing this over time and doing a lot of delves, doing these few things will allow you to do those just much more quickly and allow you to be more efficient when doing them. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.